Buy a boat, catch the fish, sell the fish, and repeat to make a profit. It sounds like a straightforward business model, but look at the typical commercial ledger. Long before any revenue is recorded, the deductions start piling up. The dock charges a fee, the insurance company sends a bill, and the bank demands its payment. Many vessels lose money without ever catching a single fish. Even the entry level is steep. For a modest operation like this small inshore lobster boat, the purchase price ranges from $150,000 to $450,000. It runs with a small crew and burns a manageable amount of fuel. Larger operations require significantly more capital. This blue and white offshore trawler is built to drag heavy nets across the seafloor using industrial deck machinery. A vessel of this scale costs between $1.5 and $6 million. This initial selection is a high-stakes business decision. Putting a massive, fuel-hungry boat into a tightly regulated fishery with low catch limits creates a structural deficit that no amount of hard work can overcome. This leads to what the industry calls the static burn rate. These boats sitting idle in the harbor are still consuming capital. A mid-sized vessel racks up between $5,000 and $25,000 a year just for the right to sit at the dock. When you stack a high-interest marine loan on top of insurance and permits, the math gets brutal. A financed $2.5 million boat costs its owner roughly $17,000 every single month, whether it catches 1 pound of fish or 1 million. Saltwater begins destroying the asset the moment it hits the harbor. Electrolysis and corrosion eat at the hull, seals dry out, and barnacles accumulate below the waterline. An idle boat decays at a rate of roughly 5 to 10% of its value every year. These relentless fixed costs create immense pressure on the captain. When the monthly bill is $17,000 regardless of weather, the decision to stay tied up during a storm becomes a massive financial liability. High debt loads translate directly into safety risks. A captain facing a heavy monthly deficit is far more likely to push a crew into worsening sea conditions just to keep the bank from seizing the vessel. Once the boat clears the harbor, fuel becomes the largest variable expense. This graph shows the physics of moving a heavy hull through water. Because power requirements increase with the cube of the speed, the curve spikes upward for even minor gains. Going just 10% faster can burn 40% more diesel. This forces a constant calculation. If fuel prices jump, a captain might wait at the dock for the market to settle. But waiting risks losing a narrow 4-day weather window, which could cost a week of fishing that can never be recovered. The people hauling in this heavy net are paid through a clear lay system. Unlike most industries, these crew members aren't hourly employees. Instead, trip expenses like fuel and bait are subtracted from the revenue first, and the remaining profit is split between the owner and the crew. This model shifts the risk of a bad trip onto the workers. If a boat hits a slump or lands low-value fish, the crew's take-home pay can fall below minimum wage. When that happens, the skilled deckhands quickly leave for boats with better catches or steady jobs on land. A commercial fishing crew functions as a group of financial partners. They share the owner's exposure to every trip expense and market swing, bearing the same risks as the person who signed the loan. The physical boat is often the least valuable part of the business. Access to fisheries is controlled through highly restricted permits or quotas. In some regions, the legal right to catch fish is worth 3 to 5 times more than the vessel used to harvest them. In the modern industry, capital flows toward these legal rights. The permit is the actual asset, and the multi-million-dollar boat is simply the tool required to extract its value. Even a massive catch is worthless if it isn't preserved. Bacteria and enzymes begin breaking down raw fish immediately. Without tons of ice or advanced refrigeration, a hold full of sashimi-grade tuna can turn into low-grade canning fish in a matter of hours, erasing 75% of its value. The final hurdle is this chaotic auction environment. If the weather is good and the fleet arrives simultaneously, the market gets flooded. Processing plants hit capacity, and the price paid per pound can crash in a single afternoon. After surviving the debt, the costly maintenance, and the severe weather, the captain's paycheck is ultimately decided by global commodity markets and local supply gluts that they cannot control. The ultimate risk is biological. Between 2018 and 2021, warming waters in the Bering Sea caused nearly 10 billion snow crabs to vanish. This collapse hit heavily rigged vessels like the Arctic Sea, which were purpose-built for a fishery that essentially disappeared in 3 years. When officials canceled the season, revenue dropped to zero. Owners of boats like this were left with loan payments and insurance bills on vessels legally barred from fishing. This wasn't a failure of management, but the inherent risk of a business built on a wild resource. Long-term survivors manage this risk by diversifying. They hold permits for multiple species across different seasons, keep deep cash reserves, and finance their boats conservatively to lower their monthly break-even point. The difference between success and failure is often a matter of timing. On the left, a strong year yields a healthy profit. But look at the right. A single storm delay, a fuel spike, and a lower quota can slash that net profit from $150,000 down to just $20,000. Success at sea requires a spreadsheet as disciplined as the crew. While the fish provide the opportunity, the math determines who is still in business 5 years from now.